Okay, so in this video lecture, we're going to talk about the revolutionary period of American history and how it's often celebrated as this time of heroic struggle for freedom and democracy, with patriots, in air quotes, hailed as courageous visionaries, again in air quotes, who fought against British oppression. But I think a closer examination of this era is revealing a more complicated and nuanced narrative, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to explore the revolutionary period from an alternative perspective to give us a point of view that's a little bit different than what we've been taught in the history books. Viewing the patriots here not as revolutionaries but objectionists, we're going to consider the impact of their actions on indigenous peoples who had existed here for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and established a way of life and a system of government for themselves. And we're also going to explore the broader kind of societal structures of the time. So what we're also going to do is discuss the legacy of this period and how it shaped the modern American culture, the philosophy, and particularly in relation to attitudes of the alt-right people. Okay? So first, let's paint this picture. Let's talk about this. The patriots are really objectionists, right? So the patriots, traditionally celebrated for their revolutionary zest, if you will, they can also be seen as objectionists. Okay, and I want you to keep this word in mind, objectionist. They resisted any form of governments that did not align with their interest. So their dissent was not only driven by a quest for democratic ideas, but also by their own economic interest. You follow me? Their resistance to taxation without representation, and they really had a greater desire for autonomy, right? Like Hong Kong. So this resistance, while framed for the fight of liberty, right, it's often disregarded that the existing societies in America, particularly the indigenous populations, and the complex webs of alliances that they had forged over centuries, were undermined by this rebellion. So what impact did all of this have on indigenous people? Well, the Revolutionary War and the subsequent establishment of the USA had devastating effects on them, right? The patriots, if you will, in their quest to establish a new world or a new nation, they often engaged in practices that were harmful to the native populations. You might ask, well, how? Well, I'm going to tell you how. Land was seized. Treaties were broken. Communities were destroyed. The patriots, far from being liberators, imposed their own form of tyranny on people in a society that already existed and was working. These people, these indigenous peoples, had a way of life that was irrevocably altered or even completely eradicated. The creation of the United States led to even more displacement, disease, and resistance from indigenous populations. And that set the stage for centuries of struggle. A lot of it still goes on today. If you don't believe me, go travel through some of the reservations that exist today, right? If you've never done that, you need to do that. But the Revolutionary period had consequences. The Revolutionary period was important. It was vital to shaping the identity and the future direction of the United States. But I want you to keep in mind here that this also led to a lot of conflict and a lot of division. So the ideals of liberty and democracy were intertwined with practices of exclusion and oppression. The war did not bring unity, okay? The Revolutionary War did not get the desired effect. It really laid the groundwork for ongoing divisions within the American society between those in power and those who are marginalized. Ta-da! 2024, right? Okay. So the legacy in American culture, the modern American culture, okay, the legacy of the Revolutionary period and this objectionist ethos, I think it can be seen in modern American culture as we look around us, right? Particularly amongst the alt-right and the QAnon crowd. So this group often views itself as modern day patriots. You hear the Mark Levins of the world. You're a great American. You're a great patriot. Okay? They see themselves as modern day patriots that fight against a perceived oppression. And they see themselves defending their vision of the American identity, right? I'd say they are, just like the founders. Their actions and their rhetoric, they often reflect objectionism to anything that challenges their worldview. This mindset, it prioritizes individual grievances and resistance to change. Think about that. Take a note of this. It prioritizes individual grievances and a resistance to change. It also overlooks the complicated realities of a diverse and very interconnected society where everyone is created equal under God. So you see, this is the revolutionary history of America is much more complicated than it seems. The narrative of the American Revolution and its heroes requires some reevaluation, y'all. The founders of America, they were often kind of idolized, made statues, paragons of virtue, if you will. But they were also individuals who were engaged in actions that can be seen as objectable. These guys were not merely fighting for freedom, but were imposing their will, often violently, on other people who were already here. So this recognition doesn't diminish the significant contributions of the revolutionary period, but I think it invites a more honest and inclusive understanding, right, of American history. So the revolutionary period of American history, it's really a testament to the complexity of the human condition, right? This embodies the aspiration of freedom, the capacity for oppression, and viewing the patriots as objectionists rather than these unblemished heroes allows for a more balanced appreciation of this era and the lasting effects on American society. This idea that these patriots were really objectionists, it challenges us to reflect on the narratives that we kind of uphold and we value and we cherish, recognizing, I think, that the path to a more just and equitable society that we all want, it requires acknowledging and learning from the past, not just celebrating it uncritically. You have to keep in mind that these people were objectionists, and that's where we're at today, a society of absolute objectionists.